Aloha, friends and family, and welcome back to the reading of our cosmic origin. Picking it up in chapter 5, the universe is bigger than what we were told. In the vast creation of our cosmos, there are many levels and realms of existence. Today it has been postulated, particularly in the realm of particle physics, that there are many universes that are evolving parallel to each other, and we only perceive, know, and understand one. According to the esoteric wisdom, all evolving spheres are different aspects of the one omniverse that is broken off into multiple universes with evolving multiple galaxies and worlds. Well, in a sense, they are both correct, for there are multiple universes as there are many existing realms and planes of reality. However, all the universes that are evolving side by side are part of a greater omniverse, or what cutting-edge science calls a metaverse, proving the esoteric wisdom correct. Therefore, all the different universes are different parts of one all-existing big motherverse. At the center of this motherverse, there is only one source from which everything springs from, and nothing exists outside of this source, the living light. Even though there are many, perhaps infinite numbers of ways in which this source expresses itself through different wavelengths and frequencies of its own singular light essence, it is all part of the same whole. As mentioned, the greatest discovery in human existence is that everything is energy, and therefore everything is light, because even energy is a step-down frequency of pure luminal light. In fact, there exist many ongoing refractions of this one light, although it appears as if there are many different reflections, universes, planes, and worlds. So yes, there are innumerable parallel universes, as well as there are innumerable stars, galaxies, and planets. And the beauty is that they are all existing as one body. Therefore, let's call it the omniverse, the one and the many and the one, all different parts of the same whole. Now, in a closer examination of our cosmos, let's re-emphasize the fact that there are billions of stars, suns, in our galaxy, as our science now calculates. Now, since there are billions of suns, stars, then there are probably a few trillion worlds/planets like our own or different, just as how there are different types of planets in our own solar system. So just alone in this galaxy, there are innumerable suns and planets. Now, as we stretch beyond this concept, it is important to know that there is more to our cosmology than just a few billion bundling galaxies, for our universe is much bigger than that. It has been rediscovered in the last 50 years or so. As the multiverse concept gains more ground in the scientific community, there was a revelation in the late 50s that allegedly came to us from heaven in the form of a book called Urantia. Urantia is considered a fifth epochal revelation for Earth, the Bible being the fourth, and some of the information there supports not only the scientific evidence regarding our multiverse, but also the fact that we are not alone and that we are part of a system of about 1,000 organized worlds that in turn is organized in a larger constellation body of 100,000 systems. However, before we dive into the Urantia papers, let's continue revealing what the new scientific data is indicating. As mentioned, since about 10 universes are being born every day due to cosmic quantum fluctuations, then galaxies and solar systems are also being spawned into existence every day. This idea of constant, endless creation is directly related to the central sun theory. According to the central sun theory, universes and galaxies are being spun out from a central focal point, generating cosmic energy in a centrifugal manner. This is fascinating because this theory proposes the idea that at the center of every galaxy and universe, there is a heartbeat pulsating universal life force, central sun, emanating its life force in a circumference manner, administering its light rays to all its galaxies, stars, and worlds, providing them with the universal life force energy needed to sustain all life. For example, one level of cosmic source in the material spheres lies at the center core of every universe. This central core acts like a giant sun in which many galaxies are revolving about, as in the case of a giant nucleus. It is this great hub that administers and controls all the galaxies in perfect formation around its source, the light at its center, which is known as the great central sun for our local universe. It is this core central sun of the universe that brings into being the first level of manifestation from the pure etheric realms. The second level of manifestation is the central sun at the center of each galaxy, that is, subdivided universes within each universe. In the case of our own local galaxy, the great central sun is known as Hanab-Ku Zolkin. Hanab-Ku Zolkin, as revealed by the Mayan scholars. Kolob to the Latter day Saints of the Church of Jesus Christ, and Tulu Ophiuchus, as known by Western mystics. In fact, this pattern continues down to the solar systems of galaxies. For example, there is a cosmological phenomenon regarding greater revolutions of systems being restored by modern scholars, and that is what the ancients called the precession of the equinox, which is the solar alignment of our sun with the central sun of our parent sun, known as Alcyone, that occurs every 26,000 years. More on this later. The lowest manifestation of light in the lower heavens is our local planetary star system, or local sun, in which our local planets revolve about. So, on behalf of the higher divine plan, creation is an ongoing process as it corresponds to the ongoing impulses of the one light that is forever sending its light rays outward from the center of the omniverse, sending its life force to all universes, all galaxies, and all solar systems. Another way of seeing the syntropic model of cosmology is by adopting the most correct esoteric axiom that correlates all existence as one from the micro to the macro. For example, since we now have a better understanding of the nature of our existence, we find a common pattern that repeats itself over and over in never-ending swirls. That is, just as the electrons revolve around its nucleus, so do the planets around the sun, the solar systems around the galactic center, and the galaxy around the greater universe, and so on. In a way, our existence is like a never ending spiral of circles within circles. To our surprise, we can identify this pattern of swirls with all physical manifestations, including the composition of man. For instance, all glands, muscles, bones, etc., everything in our physical body is governed by the center of man's being, the soul's true light essence. In the esoteric tradition, this is known as the inner sun, and the heart is the physical organ that represents this pulsating light, as blood is its physical correspondent, circulating universal life force that gives physical life to our body's biological components. Now, in an examination of these facts, we may conclude that our entire creation is based on the revolution of bodies around its source. In the more evolved circles of higher knowledge, this postulation is characterized as the laws of entropy, as opposed to the entropy model that has dominated our world under the control of the Dark Brotherhood, whose time is up. According to the entropic model of existence, there is neither ending nor beginning. We exist in a circular condition with never-ending cycles within cycles. On the contrary, in the entropic model, all existence is characterized as from point A to point B in a linear form, and this kind of condition is therefore subject to entropy, since there is a beginning point and end point. On the other hand, the entropic model states that since everything is configured as cycles within cycles, with never-ending cycles, then we are indeed infinite. If we add the now confirmed scientific evidence that all is energy, and since energy is neither created nor destroyed, then we can safely conclude that the entropic model is the correct one, because everything is energy and it's being held together by some central focal point from the microcosm to the macrocosm. This eternal infinite pattern of our cosmos, the entropic model of existence, also provides evidence that our existence is holographic. Another example of the entropic model was seen in the Dark Ages, when people held the idea that the earth was flat and that it was the center point in which everything revolves around, the suns, planets, etc. This medieval fallacy kept mankind trapped in a limited pattern of the entropic model, compelling them to a linear subjective reality. In truth, this fallacy continued up until today, holding on to the idea that this is the only planet with life and that our sun was the only sun or star with planets. However, by adopting the entropic model, we can conclude that our local planets revolve around our local star, sun, and since there are billions of stars, suns in our galaxy, then according to the entropic pattern, they too are revolving around a single source at the center of our galaxy. This emerging truth should shatter the last breath of believing in the entropic model, which indicates that everything has an end, when in fact, in light of correct knowledge, there is no end to life, because life is light, and light is the eternal source. So if there is always light, there is always life. What is even more disturbing is that no matter how much this new data makes better sense than the old, there is a perpetual resistance against the new evidence taking place within the scientific community by those who don't want to reform to the new concept of existence, and those trying to unite all theories into a unified theory of everything. For example, in modern accepted mainstream science, this great truth has been buried under the false assumption that at the center of most galaxies lays a black hole that sucks everything up, thus meaning the end of physical life as we know it. On the contrary, and based on the higher restored knowledge, it is the other way around. It appears, in light of the new evidence, that there is a constant pulsating life force that is continually emanating its light rays outward from the center of our galaxy, not inward or sucked into a black hole, favoring the entropic model. Therefore, based on the new data, the entropic concept has always been invalid and false. For it is well understood that black holes happen as a result of only two things. The first is when a star or planet implodes, it creates a massive black hole sucking up everything in its immediate surroundings. The second way a black hole is produced is when a universe reaches old age and it collapses into a point of singularity. Overall, the entropic concept is one of many inaccuracies, like the flat world concept that ruled our minds for thousands of years, till about 500 years ago. Since we are correcting commonly accepted inaccuracies, let's remind ourselves that in our material universe there is no such thing as empty space. All is energy, vibrating matter, even in the higher realms of the spiritual spheres that are not perceptible to the naked eye, or the 94% of the so-called missing matter in our universe. Until recently, our Earth scientists have failed in measuring anything outside of the range of the third dimensional frequency, the lowest vibrating field of energy matter. However, it was brought to my attention that Earth scientists has recently modified their detecting technologies using X-ray to measure the realm of dark matter, and to our surprise have detected colonies and life in the realms of dark matter. At least now our Earth scientists has registered energy emanating from the so-called missing reality thanks to their Hubble X-ray satellite. As revealed earlier, dark matter is a higher reality, vibrating at higher frequencies. So it appears to be dark or empty to our naked eye. So with that said, let's correct the material approach and reinstate the fact that at the center of all galaxies lays a colossal sun, a central sun that is equivalent to the power of billions of suns. All central suns at the center of all galaxies have such a high level of energy vibration that unless we step up in frequency or dimensions higher than the low third dimensional rate of vibration, it would appear dark, of course, logically speaking, left brain, assuming it has to be a black hole at its center. As a reminder, our scientists have been only measuring 6% of all existence, and so have based their facts on incomplete data, though in truth it is the great center hub in which all billion stars, suns, systems revolve around that cultivate the grounds for accepting the entropic model of existence. Therefore, by readapting the entropic model of cosmology, we can now begin to see that our entire galaxy is being held together in a perfect circular fashion, the same way the atom and our solar systems are. In truth, the central sun of our galaxy is like a gigantic nucleus sun or power generator that sustains all the billions of suns, stars. In fact, all the life force that is being generated to our planet via our sun is essentially coming from the central sun of our Milky Way galaxy, through what higher evolved scientists call scalar and gamma waves. This applies to all the living suns and stars in our galaxy, as they are all sustained by the life force emanating from the center hub of our Milky Way galaxy. Now, since there are innumerable galaxies as revealed through NASA, and as we continue applying the entropic model, we can begin to understand that our own galaxy, with other galaxies, is also making a greater revolution around perhaps an even greater source of the energy center. Therefore, we may conclude that a great number of galaxies together would make up one universal body, or one universe. Since there are multiple universes as postulated by the new evidence, we can now begin to see how there could exist multiple universal bodies, each a composite of revolving galaxies around a greater source, thus validating what our new science is now confirming. As mentioned, further evidence in support of this claim is also confirming from the emissaries, higher intelligence, hailing from the higher planes of existence. This higher intelligence is now coming in the numbers to assist our Creator in the restoration of our planet. In this next segment, we will uncover information from higher spiritual sources that confirm that we indeed live in a multiverse system. According to the Urantian material, a compilation of higher, valuable information that has been transmitted by celestial beings, revealing the existence of many universes, composites of billions of galaxies that are evolving side by side, but yet remain connected through a greater universal cosmic body in which all universes are revolving about. In the Urantia material, this central body in which all universes are revolving is known as the central universe of Havona. Could this central universe of Havona revealed in the Urantia material parallel what scientists are referring to as the metaverse or motherverse. Therefore, the motherverse that has been proposed by the new scientific evidence, leading the way towards a theory of everything, while also being supported by the Urantia papers. Let's examine this restored body of knowledge known as Urantia, also known as a fifth epochal revelation, that is, to unite science, spirituality, and philosophy. According to this revelation, we have a central universe which is eternal. This eternal central universe is divided into what the Urantia material calls the 7 super-universe spheres, which altogether comprise the grand central universe. The 7 super-universes are 7 segments in which the central universe first breaks into. As it begins the arcane process known as involution, or the great descent, or divide, as we will begin to see that from the beginning of the descending division or expansion, there was organization. These 7 super universes are also known as the space-time creations, or extensions of the central universe, which according to Urantia are considered eventuated without beginning or end, as its spheres are eternal. This fact of always existing eternal spheres correlates with the new scientific evidence regarding the eternal motherverse. Also, it is supported by the esoteric ancient wisdom of all traditions, According to the ancient arcane wisdom, it is the meaning of the great cosmic birth of the true Immaculate Conception. Every spiritual source has testified to this fact of a primal Immaculate Conception. Furthermore, Urantia reveals that each of these 7 super universes that comprise the central creation is divided into 10 major sectors, giving us a total of 70 major sectors. Each major sector has 100 minor sectors, giving a total of 7,000 minor sectors. Each minor sector contains 100,000 organized local universes, calculating about 700,000 local universes and growing every day. In turn, each local universe contains approximately 100 constellations, giving us roughly about 70 million constellations and growing by the second. Each constellation contains 100 systems, giving us a total of 7 billion systems in the grand central universe. Finally, each system contains 1,000 worlds. Now, if we add this up, not considering the eternal spheres of the central universe periphery, we end up with approximately 7 trillion organized, evolving planetary worlds in our cosmos and growing by the second. As mentioned, every day, new universes are being born and organized daily into the domain of the mother central spheres. At the central universe forever continues expansion into the eternal void of infinite space. Very interesting. Now there is more. At the center of the central universe of Havana, there is the eternal Isle of Paradise, which itself consists of 7 sacred spheres, or the 7 mansion worlds of the universal Father-Mother, the Absolute. Urantia also reveals that in addition to these 7 sacred spheres, there are about 200 architectural world spheres that are inhabited by both descending beings that had their origin in the eternal spheres and ascending beings that had evolved from the bottom up as creatures of the time and space experience. The always existing eternal spheres of the central universe are known as eventuated realities with no beginning or end. On the other hand, the realities from the super universe level and downward are known as experimental realities, designed to overall work for the eternal growth and continued expansion of the eternal spheres of the central universe. Now, in understanding cosmic divine personalities, it is believed that at the center of this central sphere there exists the universal Mother-Father, the Absolute, who are also referred to as the first source and center. The first source and center, together with the eternal Son, make up the first Trinity known as the Paradise Trinity. In this original Paradise Trinity, we have the universal Father, the eternal Son, and the infinite Spirit. The universal Father represents the source of all gravity, personality, while the eternal Son represents the spirit gravity, circuits, and the eternal Spirit acts as the universal mind of the Trinity, which is translated as the container of existence, or the Great Mother. Furthermore, during the Great Descent, it is believed that this primary cosmic trinity divides into what is known as the 7 master spirits who dwell in the 7 mansion worlds, or sacred spheres, of the central system. In turn, each master spirit rules over a super universe segment with its own trinity. The celestial order of the Eternal of Days has always been the first celestial administration acting on behalf of the Paradise Trinity, the primary central core of all existence. Now it is important to understand that in this eternal sphere, only celestial beings of pure light live there. Perhaps these were the first souls that were born from the family of the first source and center, the trinitized sons and daughters of the Paradise Trinity. The Urantia papers refer to them as the firstborn of the central spheres. It is also revealed that these divine personalities later act as the descending sons and daughters of light, creator gods and goddesses of the local universe, in the experimental architectural spheres of the 7 super universes. Following the celestial order of the Eternal of Days, which administrates the affairs of the central universe, is the order of the Ancient of Days, which is the administration that governs all 7 super universes, all within the domains of their respective spheres. It is the overall cosmic divine plan that sets the ground for the perpetual divine guidance and celestial administrations that appears on all levels of existence, all the way down to the order of beings known as the Faithful of Days that oversee the spiritual councils of planets themselves. In this way, all of creation is dancing in tune with the great divine plan that stems from the great central hub of all that is, the central isle of paradise, which is, by the way, the great central sun of all universes as we integrate cutting-edge science with higher restored knowledge. What we see here is divine order represented on all levels of existence. The order of the Ancient of Days as the second cosmic order was designed to govern the entire Havona system from the level of super-universe downward. It is this great order that works with endless groups of seraphim and supranephim hosts that were assigned to the service of the orders for the fulfillment of the great cosmic divine plan. So from the top down again, we have the order of Eternal of Days, who oversees the affairs of the central spheres of Havona. Next, we have the order of the Ancient of Days that oversee the development of the time-space experiential worlds of evolutionary potential, all within the periphery of the 7 super universes. Then, as we descend further to the 10 major sectors, we have the celestial order of the Perfection of Days, who administrate the major sectors and minor sectors on behalf of the order of both the Eternal and Ancient of Days. Further down, we have the celestial order of the Union of Days, and this order administrates the affairs of all local universes within the minor sectors. Now, within the domains of local universes and the lower levels of the constellations, we have the celestial order of the Recent of Days, and further down to the star system sovereigns, we have the celestial order of the Faithful of Days. In further examination, we can correlate the Urantia material with the idea of the 3 levels of heaven, the celestial, etheric, and material, mentioned earlier. In this comparison, we could line up the Havona central spheres with the eternal celestial spheres that have always existed as the most purified levels of light. As we descend into the second heaven, then we match the organization, extension of the 7 super universes corresponding to the middle heavens of the etheric realms, which extended from the already eternal existing spheres of light, the celestial planes, or as Urantia puts it, the grand central universe. The creations of the local universes could be considered the lower heavens of the material spheres, where all the galaxies exist. Now, on a galactic level, if we can further correlate these 3 levels of existence to the postulated 3 types of advanced population, planetary, stellar, and galactic civilizations proposed by our new science, then we are on the verge of the greatest scientific and spiritual revolution ever, which only comes with the re-establishment of heaven on earth, or a utopian golden age. According to the Urantia material, we live in a local universe of Nebadon, which is one of the multiple evolving universes within the 7th segment of the known superuniverse of Orvatan. However, the Urantia material does not mention the other superuniverses other than Orvatan, nor does it mention anything about any other local universes other than Nebadon. Perhaps those other super universes with their respected local universes have been completed and are waiting for the completion of Orvatan, the 7th segment we belong to. Urantia also revealed that the central universe of Havona is expanding its periphery 1 space level at a time in support of the entropic model of existence, and in the overall scheme of things, we are barely in the stage of completing the first outer space level. Out of 4 others that are awaiting further organization. In other words, all creations from the central universe, celestial, to the super universe levels, etheric, and down to the local universes, material, with their trillions of planets, exist within the periphery of the first space level in circumference to the always existing spheres of the Havona system. This tells us that the organization of energy matter is taking place 1 outer space level at a time. This is the same esoteric concept regarded as the ring pass not, which is equivalent to 1 universal round of involution descending and evolution ascending. As revealed by Urantia, we are at the completion of the first space level and are waiting to once again begin the next round of extension in the 2nd outer space level from the always existent grand central universe. As far as the 3 outer space levels are concerned, they are waiting to be organized and inhabited by intelligence that is ascending in this universal round. As for now, those 3 outer space levels are unorganized with no life forms. However, upon the completion of Orvatan, the last of the 7 super universes, we will begin a new universal round as everything begins again from the purest levels in a new cycle in the 2nd outer space level surrounding the always existing spheres of Havona and all its sanctified worlds of evolutionary completion. Now, since we are barely in the end stage of completing our first outer space level, then we are perhaps in the beginning phase of a process that will probably be infinite, since there is no end to numbers. Even the completion of the first level seemed like an eternity. This cosmic expansion is an infinite process as we further expand into the outer levels of the infinite void. What an adventure! It is absurd to think that this world, galaxy, or universe was it, and that there is a black hole at the center of all galaxies. Only now, as we enter a new age with a new understanding, will a higher cosmology emerge through the synthesis of spirituality, philosophy, and science, which would promote eternal life and heaven on earth. As a reminder, and for the correction of facts, modern day human beings are descendant immortal light beings, which have always existed in the celestial spheres of the great central sun. And since our entire existence is eternal, for it has never had a beginning, nor will it ever have an end, it would only evolve into greater and greater manifestations of itself as we continue to further expand outward, taking with us the infinite light of our Creator onward. What is important to understand is that we are all connected and part of the same universal body of light, and everything from the universal to the human to the atom has a focal point of energy and a central sun. The human being, in fact, is the ultimate middle point between the manifestation of the grand macrocosmos and the small micro particles, thus uniting both sides of the spectrum. And since there is no end to light, then there is no end to the energy matter. For as long as there is light energy, there will always be matter. Now, since we are on the topic of better understanding our cosmos, it is my honor to also share another restored higher spiritual cosmology that will help us understand the meaning of the number 12. In the Urantia material, all universes and divine orders of sonship are signified by the number 7. Also, it is vital to understand that the Urantia material was commissioned by a collaborated group of higher bits of intelligence or divine personalities that exist and operate from the central universe of Havona, the super universe levels, and down to the higher worlds that oversee the development and evolution of the lower planetary worlds. In addition, it has also been brought to my attention that the Urantia material is only 49% accurate. However, the concept of cosmos is correct. Therefore, let it be understood that according to the guide of the High Spirit, the information revealed in this material is only pertaining to the true aspect of the Urantia papers. The other 61% that is incorrect is not shared in this material. In this next account of cosmology, the information revealed was restored to the earth by the overseer and divine administrator of our own local universe, Lord Michael. In esoteric scriptures, Lord Michael is one of the 5 cosmic lords and one of the 12 celestial adepts. According to his restored record, the Yannian script, he is adept at the Clusian solar ray of power and rulership that oversees the 12th universe of God. According to this cosmology, our Earth exists in the 12th major universe, extending from the central core universe known as the universe of the Godhead, which has always existed without beginning or end. The universe of the Godhead is an eternal existence like the grand central universe without beginning or end. It is the abode of our celestial parents. The first universe that extends outward from this central core is known as the universe of beauty, and it's attributed to the first of 5 cosmic lords, the first solar adept, the firstborn of heaven, our eldest brother, and the greatest of the sons of God, Lord Jesus. As the firstborn in heaven, everything came through his ray essence. He is the adept and holder of the first cosmic ray known as the Atrium silver ray of unconditional love and beauty. It is this cosmic ray that permeates and holds all other cosmic rays by virtue of unconditional love and purpose. It is also the most powerful ray in existence, for it is the first ray to extend from the core as the essence of all unconditional love. In this universe, only planets of exquisite beauty exist. There is only one solar system, and it is relatively a small universe with only a few hundred inhabited worlds. By virtue of being adept at the first cosmic ray, Jesus is the Lord of all the first solar planes in each succeeding universe. He is also known as our oldest brother and king of all celestial beings. The second universe extending from the God source, surrounding the central core, is known as the universe of women. The overseer and adept of this universe is known as Maria, the second born of heaven, and that is why this universe was attributed to women only. Maria is also known as God's eternal companion, who acts as the focal point of power for the sacred divine feminine, and it's governed by the second cosmic ray of wisdom, Sophia. In the universe of women only, the love side, feminine, of God exists to its fullest degree. In the Keys of Enoch, this is known as the Shekinah universe, which also corresponds to the bride of Yahweh, our Heavenly Father, according to the Kabbalah, the secret knowledge of the Western mystics. The third universe is known as the universe of men. It is the universe of intellectual pursuits, for only the masculine aspect of God exists there. The overseer and ruler of this universe were known as Lord Samana before he fell from grace and became the father of all historical Lucifer-like beings. It was this prideful Son of God that rebelled against the ongoing creation of the Godhead and therefore became the universal archetype Lucifer, the adversary of God. According to the Ionian manuscript, Samana became the catalyst of the dark cosmic ray of Colodon, Colodhon, that streamed throughout all creation, causing the fall and destruction of many worlds. Nonetheless, in the fourth universe, both the feminine love aspect of the Godhead and the masculine intellectual aspect of the Godhead came together as one. It was in the fourth universe where both the feminine and masculine, or the love and intellectual aspects of the Godhead, first came into balance. And balance is really at the root of all democracies, as it is governed by the fourth cosmic ray. The fifth universe is known as the Great Silent Universe, and it was governed by the fifth cosmic ray. There were no sounds, only thoughts, and everything was conducted by the power of pure thinking in this creation. For instance, in this universe, everything a person thought of instantaneously manifested, and that is why it was known as the Great Silent Universe. The next universe is known as the universe of the little people. It was in this universe that all fairies, gnomes, and salamander, aka nature spirits, had their origin, and it is governed by the sixth cosmic ray. The seventh universe, known as the universe of mathematical science, was given solely to the pursuit of all universal mathematics as to why math is a universal language across all universes and is governed by the seventh cosmic ray. Then came the eighth universe, which was known as the Great Laboratory of God. It was in this universe that all the cosmic rays were put into experimentation. It was also recorded that Jesus, the firstborn in heaven and greatest adept of all, had visited this universe in order to console the people due to the tremendous experimentation of the cosmic rays that were taking place there, making it extremely challenging for the intelligence that lived there. In fact, everything we have come to know about all sciences, from the superluminal to the metaphysical and physics, derived from the experiments and observations conducted in this universe. This universe was one macro experimentation of the cosmic rays and was governed by the eighth cosmic ray. Let it be known that we see a pattern here unfolding in each and succeeding creation. By observation of this information, we can conclude that everything has a harmonious order to it. For instance, the first cosmic ray laid the fundamental essence for all creations. This essence was unconditional love. So in a chain of creations, extension or expansion, universal love was the primary ingredient that sustained and acted as an underlying field, essence, behind all the other rays. With the second ray, the experience is only concerned with universal unconditional love that is all nurturing as the feminine aspect of the Godhead, or the feminine side of the great silver sun, Jesus the Christ. In the third universe, we see only the development of the mind that corresponds to the development of the male side of the silver sun, represented by Lord Samana. Then in the fourth universe, the birth of democracy, we see the two aspects come together in perfect balance as the feminine and masculine begin to coexist as two aspects of the same whole. So now that we have a balance and coexistence of the loves, heart, feminine, and mind, male, intellectual, of the one ray, then we begin to understand the power of thoughts as they deal directly with what we experience. From exploring the power of thoughts, we realize that everything in existence, all shapes, patterns, and geometries that make up existence, begin in the mental plane. In the sixth universe, we experience life on a micro level as we learn to work together in order to maintain the beauty of all nature as we blend with our environment. Now in the seventh universe, we can begin to explore the mathematics of the patterns created in the universe of thought forms. After we understand the precession and laws of these creations through mathematics, then we begin to experiment with all its properties, and the great laboratory of God and the eighth universe. What we are seeing here is an unfolding that takes place one step at a time. After the creation of the eighth universe comes the ninth universe, in which all the creation is devoted to the worship of its creator. This universe is governed by the ninth cosmic ray. The 10th universe became known as the universe of theology, where everyone becomes ardent students of the God subject, and this universe was governed by the 10th cosmic ray. After the universe of theology follows the 11th universe, known as the universe of mechanics, where all technology had its origin, and it is governed by the 11th cosmic ray. The final universal creation in this cosmology of 12 is known as the 12th universe of compassion, and it's governed by the 12th cosmic ray. According to the Yannian script, all universes have returned to the great central core of their origin. That is, all universal extensions from the first universe of Lord Jesus to the 11th universe have returned, ascended, back to its parent source, and the only one left is the vast universe of compassion, which is the 12th universe we belong to. Nevertheless, the last unvast of compassion is now ready to ascend like the other universes, and that is why the last battle, or may we say, the final resolution between duality, is now coming to an end here in our world, as revealed by the higher bits of intelligence and as confirmed by the ancient prophecies. It is important to understand that every single universe contributed to the existence of its successor. For instance, in seeing this unfolding as a building construct, we could say that the essence and existence of the first universe gave birth to the next universe, as if the first universe acted as a layer to the second one. This in turn occurred for each succeeding universe, as each one inherited the cosmic ray of the previous one, and every new universe inherited its own cosmic ray as well. Every universe had the same solar planes and solar systems of its indicated number. For example, our universe, the last creation, inherited all the cosmic rays prior to its creation. However, its primary ray was known as the Clusian ray of power and rulership. According to this revelation, our Earth's sun is known as the 12th solar planets within the 12 universe of compassion, containing all the essences and properties of every existing universe prior to its creation. This explains why our solar system and our planet Earth have been a source of great value in the entire 12 creations. The 12 major creations, known as the universe of compassion, has a purpose, and it is to achieve the ultimate compassion within every living soul who resides in it. Also, it is important to add that every living soul that came to live in the 12 universes had its origins as it was born out of the breath of God in the second and third universes. In retrospect, the first universe was dedicated to the great silver sun, the firstborn in heaven, Jesus, and all beings were as pure as his essence. The living souls which were born of the breath of God in the second and third universes were the same souls that proceeded in their involution or descent in the following universes, as each universe was governed by its own particular ray, which provided all of the gods' descending children with a new experience each time they would come into a new creation under a new ray, as each ray would afford them the opportunity to explore a different aspect or wavelength of the one pure light essence. According to this cosmology, all souls came to be born out of the breath of their parents, for sex did not exist until the last creation, the 12 universes, when the vibrations lowered into the 8th, 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th, and eventually 3rd dimensions. This was primarily since all beings from the first universe to the 11th were etheric and were capable of reproducing by combining essences coupled with focused thought form and collectively intending the child of their union into existence. This is the same way each universe and all our Creator's original children, us, were first born in spiritual essence. In addition, in each universe, all souls became endowed with the same creative powers of the Godhead, as we were made in the similitude and likeness of our Creator, thus validating the modern-day concept of the holographic universe as postulated by the latest research in quantum physics. Eventually, as each universe returned to its prime source, as the ascension process took effect, the souls would graduate from that ascended universe and continue in their experience in new creations until they reached the last creation, the 12 universes, thus completing their total descension in the revolutionary and evolutionary process. It has been revealed by Lord Michael that the 12 universes, being the largest of all the other universes, is ready to come home and the last one to ascend, and that explains the resolution coming into fruition in our world in these glorious times, where heaven is scheduled to materialize on earth. The process of creation, however, does not end there, and it only marks the completion of the 7th super universe as revealed by the Urantia material. And for the record, let it be known that all souls born into the last creation or extension of the 7th super universe were endowed with all the 12 cosmic rays. As to why we have 12 overall chakra systems or energy centers, each major chakra or etheric center is in direct relation to one of the 12 living major universes. We have seen two different cosmological accounts of our cosmos. According to the Urantia material, we live in the local universe of Nabadan. In turn, the local universe of Nabadan is one out of a multitude of local universes existing side by side within the domain of the 7th super universe segment, which is 1/7 of the entire Havona system, or Metaverse Grand Central Universe. In comparison to the cosmology account of the Ionian script, which reveals the existence of 12 universes all emanating from the central core universe, which one would be the most accurate one? In order to understand the sacredness of the 7 and 12, we must understand the patterns that shaped our world, looking at within the records of all sacred traditions. It has been known by most adepts, mystics, and saints that the numbers 7 and 12 are the most sacred numbers, as they are related to one another. We can see this repeating pattern in almost everything. For instance, God created the heavens and the earth in 7 days. There are 7 days a week, as there are 7 levels of initiation in the ascension process, as there are 7 major chakras. Not to mention, according to the secret doctrine, there are 7 evolutionary cycles of civilization, corresponding to the 7 evolving root races of our planet. Now for the sacred number 12, there are 12 astrological houses in our galaxy known as the zodiac. There are 12 tribes of Israel. Jesus had 12 apostles. There were 12 knights of the Round Table in the courts of Camelot, etc. Not to mention, in our original makeup, we had 12 functioning chakras, as there are 12 strands of DNA. However, the other 5 chakras are located outside our body. In a comparison of these two cosmologies, 7 and 12 are sacred numbers as they pertain to the overall creation of the Godhead. Although let's not forget about 3, which is perhaps the most important number. One thing to understand is that our omniverse operates in perfect order, and that order is reflected in all things, as there are different aspects, extensions, and manifestations of the one God source, all functioning together as different parts of the same whole. Therefore, we may say that perhaps in the great beginning there was only one single undivided whole, as there still is at the highest point of existence, or in its primal state. This state of existence could also be classified as a unqualified absolute or primal virgin birth of the cosmos. So in the expansion of this whole unqualified absolute, the first step was to first divide into 3, as 3 became the first underlying pattern to all creation. This was the initial step in the creation, expansion, involution, and evolution of all universes. This first division also gave us the concept of the Trinity, or as stated in the Urantian material, the Paradise Trinity was born, in which everything comes from, including the Christian Trinity. In this process, as the one became the 3, we begin to see this pattern first in the 3 major planes of existence: celestial spiritual, etheric mental, and material physical. From a macrocosmic level, we see the Trinity as the central universe, the super universe, and the local universes. From a local universe level, we see it as galactic, solar, and planetary. At a personal level, the spirit, mind, and body make up the human being, which is the last and final extension of the Godhead. First God, the whole, one, becomes the 3, and then it divides into 7. The 7 mighty Elohim, the 7 archangels, the 7 super universes, etc. So bear in mind that this is the same substance, unqualified absolute, now divided into 7 aspects of itself. Most importantly, let it be understood as validated by both quantum physics and metaphysical science that there is only one immeasurable force with innumerable parts, as a photon is both a wave and a particle at the same time. So in tracing this back to the great beginning, at the time of the great unfolding, first there was God, the one-fold, and then came God the threefold as the Trinity, then God as the sevenfold. And since everything is divided from the one, there is no separation, only expansion, for we are dealing with the same energy field, same light energy expressing itself in different forms and parts, and many, and the one, and the one, and the many. Also, as the Trinity divides, involution, descent, into 7 parts, it preserves the Trinity in each part, for each master spirit in each super universe is also composed as a Trinity, as there are 3 ancient days for each of the 7 super universes. After the expansion, division into the 7th super universes, the great Godhead, unqualified absolute, from the one to the threefold to the sevenfold, was now ready to begin its experience in the outer realms of the first space level to become God, the 12-fold, thereby explaining the 12 major universes, perhaps emanating from each super universe, each acting as 1/7 of the whole multiverse central, eventuated, always existing spheres. From a holographic perspective, we may now safely conclude that each super universe is an exact replica of the already existing central universe, motherverse. That indicates that each super universe extension acted as its own central core, evolving 12 major creations and innumerable minor ones, down to the billions of galaxies. At 12, in each super universe, the one immeasurable source, which is 1/7 of the whole, has now broken off into 12 separate aspects of itself. And as the 3 is inherited in the 7, and as each 7 carries the property of 3, then this means that in the 12 there are also properties of 3s and 7s, as there are 3 overall planes of existence, 7 major chakras in our body system, and 5 minor ones, thus making it 12, all interrelate with one another. Let's sum it up. The one first divides in 3, and then into 7, and then 12, as each further divided carries the whole of the entire central original universe. This tells us also that the inherent property or blueprint for all life that exists is generated from the inner core of all that is. Just like our own cells in our bodies follow a genetic blueprint based on a central control program known as DNA, RNA. This tells us that everything in existence is propelled by an inert intelligence that by far exceeds our comprehension, as we only use 6% of our full capacity. According to the new findings, the entire cosmos is influenced by a cosmic DNA central control program. Considering this, we may conclude that everything in existence is dancing to the tune of our universal architect, God, who is always in control of all things and in all its extension creations. Most importantly, this concept validates the idea that everything in existence has a purpose and that there are no accidents. After viewing that 3, 7, and 12 are inherent traits in all creation, we can now comprehend why the new physics suggests that indeed everything is holographic in nature, as every aspect of existence is reflected in everything else. So we can conclude that all of existence is orchestrated by the same patterns which all stem from primal sources that first divided into 3, then 7, and then finally the 12, or at least in our universal extension, and that explains why our galactic systems within the 12 major creations are further divided by 12 parts, the zodiac. Now in an attempt to bridging the two different cosmologies that have been restored back to our world by the higher emissaries, we may conclude that there only exists one great overall central universe, or motherverse, with no end and no beginning, as proposed by the new science. Second, by applying the analogy of the primal sacred number, this great cosmic universe is first divided into 3 levels of itself. This is known as the peripheral, nether, and upper paradise of the celestial spheres, as indicated by the Urantia material. Then the great central universe becomes 7 central universes, all reflecting 7 parts of the one grand central one. So thinking in terms of a holographic picture, if we cut it in 7 pieces, it becomes 7 entire pictures, all reflecting the same whole, perhaps in different positions. That means that each super universe reflects as a central universe with no beginning or end, just as in the case of the already existing central Havona spheres. Since we are part of the 7th aspect known as the sexes, even supervises of Orvietan, and since the 12 is the next divided, this 7th central universe, Orvietan, now begins to divide into 12. So perhaps could it be that the 12 universes of God revealed in the Ionian script are part of one of 7 central core creations, all different components or segments of the grand central core of all that is. This implies that each super universe creation has its own central core and Godhead. So, to integrate these two cosmologies, we could say then that we are one major universal creation extension of 7 super universal creations, each with its own core center, and 12 major creations. Each core center is like a cosmic central sun to each extending creation, as to why there is a central sun on every level, all the way down to the solar systems of planets. In turn, each cosmic sun is one of 7 expressions of the one grand central cosmic sun that acts as a nucleus that lies at the center of all that is. This central hub is known as the Isle of Paradise. It's equally important to know that it is only at the level of super universes that the great experiment in time and space begins, for it has been revealed that at the highest level of the grand central universe there is no time or space. This condition has always existed for the grand central universe, and of course it continued to exist even after the grand central universe first divided into 7 segments, becoming the center core of the 7 super universes. Now, in remembering the descending and refraction of pure light substance, it was at the point of first dividing into 7 where the extension of the light source of pure energy began its experiment into measurable time and space. In quantum physics today, this is like how the singular white light is refracted through the prism to reflect the 7 colors of the rainbow. So in the case of our creation, time began the great descent at the moment the center core universe became the 7 fragments of 7 cosmic rays, thus beginning its experiment into the great void, therefore creating Alpha and Omega into a completing cycle that became known as one universal round. In the case of our creation round, it was the 12 major universes of compassion that marked the end of this experiment in the cosmic grand time cycle of the 7th super universe of Orvonton. According to the Urantia papers, the super universe of Orvonton is incomplete. Perhaps the ascension of the 12 major creations marks the completion of the super universe of Orvotron. So in view of the Urantia material with the Ionian script, we can postulate that there are 12 major universes in our 7th segment, however, only pertaining to the 7th super universe of Orvonton, but in actuality, there are a total of 84 organized major universes, 12 times 7, in number, with millions of local minor universes existing in different segments of the grand central omniverse. This cosmology of higher evolution is now evidently being confirmed by the revolutionary scientific concept of a multiverse cosmology, which slowly is now being accepted in our scientific community. In fact, LISA, Laser Interferometry Satellite Antenna, has concrete data scientifically confirming the existence of multiple universes. As mentioned in our world these days, the concept of multi-universes has become a hot topic within the leading scientific discoveries, particularly in the realm of M theory, superstring theory, gravity quantum theory, and unified field theory. As mentioned, Urantia only references the 7th super universe of Orvonton without much information on the other 6 super universes. Maybe we are only to be concerned with our own super universe until its completion, which is underway. As far as the other super universes have their own celestial host of creator sons and daughters of light, who are, by the way, the celestial family, brothers and sisters of our creator son, Lord Michael. These other sons and daughters of light govern and direct the cosmic force of universal power for the universal Father of the grand central spheres at the level of local universes within the time-space continuum. They are collectively known as creator sons and daughters and are descending sons and daughters of light. According to the Urantia material, they originated in paradise and were the offspring of the first union experience of the universal Father and universal Mother, who produced the first family of light, beginning with the 5 cosmic lords and their offspring before the beginning of any time as we know it. These descending sons and daughters of light were given absolute power and dominion over their time-space creations. the local universes, which there are millions of in the entire grand central spheres, when the time came, each creator's son, daughter was endowed not only with the same divine attributes as their parents in paradise, but were descending in pairs, providing a balance between the feminine and masculine aspects of the universal God force. It turns out that each creator's son had a wife or twin flame that reflected the feminine aspect of the paradise trinity within the local domains of the local universe, since each fragment contains the essence of the whole. For instance, in our last major creation, and particularly in our local universe of Nebadon, Lord Michael has a complementary partner that governs our creation with him. According to ancient esoteric studies, it is believed that Lord Michael's heavenly consort and feminine side is known as Michaela, or Faith. This lady goddess is the loving side of Lord Michael, and at the highest level of existence, they are considered one androgynous being, as all twin flames are. All creation reflects both duality and singularity. It just so happens that living in the lowest vibration of the spectrum, we only perceive the duality state. In conclusion, let it be known that ultimately there is only one universal source, known as the Supreme Absolute Prime Creator, and that everything has stemmed from this one source. The Omniverse, or as science now calls Motherverse, is one body animated by one great macro spirit, and by virtue of its holographic nature, it is important to know that everything in existence is an extension and part of this great living universal force that many call spirit. It is everywhere at once, unified field, and it is in everything, for nothing will ever and has ever existed outside of this all-encompassing energy source. It is the true spiritual meaning of monotheism, as this one spirit source permeates all of existence, as it is omnipresent everywhere at once, omnipotent, all-powerful, and omniscient, all-knowing, existing in everything all at once. Whether we see it as a force of Star Wars, or the unified field theory of everything in science, or Chi Prana in Eastern metaphysics, or the Holy Spirit in Western theology, it is describing the same phenomenon, that we are all part of the living Spirit of God, or primal source. In review, we have witnessed that there is a great cosmic pattern unfolding throughout all of the existence, celestial, etheric, and material. With this in mind, we can therefore conclude that the great central Godhead of all creation has endowed all his creation with the same creative abilities and characteristics of its original self in each single one of us. Mankind in general is the final descension of our Creator's light, and our purpose is to reflect the entire whole within us, therefore making us co-creators with our Creator source. The time for us to recognize who we really are draws near. This is the opportunity that is being offered at this time in our world as our planet ascends into higher dimensions or refined spiritual matter. We live in an omniverse or motherverse holographic existence, which is first divided into 3, then 7, then 12, and then 144, and so on. And even though there are multiple universes and worlds all evolving parallel to each other, we must remember that they are still connected and part of the grand central spheres, like different aspects of the whole cosmic umbrella. We are all part of one grand cosmic experience, all interconnected and all evolving as one micro living entity at the highest level, one macro living entity at the highest level. In fact, based on the new evidence, human beings are like trillions of cells coexisting together in these omnivores as cells are in our human body, for all existence is one. And when we return, my friends, we will pick it up at chapter 6. All universes and creations operate according to universal laws and are governed by multiple celestial, etheric, and material administrations, councils of light that has been set up by the great Godhead, primal source of all creation. And we leave you in the love and the light of the infinite Creator. Until then, my friends.